Welcome to Wear Your Cape to Work, a podcast hosted by Project Insight. We believe that project and program managers are the real superheroes of every organization. They wear their capes to work every day, and we want to celebrate them. Our guests on the podcast are project professionals who have poured their superpowers into driving successful projects across different industries. We want you to hear their stories so you can be inspired to wear your own cape to work. Hi, Matt. It's just you and me today. This is super good.
So nice. I love the closure, right? Our project closure for our first season and going through and recapping everything's wonderful. So
Yeah, we've had a really great season, and we are on episode 12. We had 11 great episodes with project managers from across a ton of different sectors. So to our loyal audience, we know there's a lot of you out there now listening to us on the regular. We sure appreciate you. Thank you so much for subscribing to the Wear Your Cape to Work podcast. Always feel free to like on the YouTube channel and share the links to the different podcast channels that you love with friends and project management professionals who might enjoy the episodes. And also, Matt, you and I were talking today about how we've got an audience of people who aren't in project management at all, that, young people who are maybe thinking about it in their future, or parents who are like, this is totally up my kid's alley. It's a neat audience base.
it really is. It's great that you can also get some of that technical know-how, right, without maybe necessarily even having that in your background at the same point.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah. And we do that with other podcasts, don't you? I want to listen to other job titles and other people who are experts in their field too. You were going to say something. I cut you off.
yeah, This American Life, right? I don't know. I experience all sorts of different things that I'm not accustomed to, and get that. So 100% I'm with that. So
Yeah, drop in the chat links to the podcasts you love too, all of our audience. Just share what you're listening to, share what you like to hear about. We think there's some neat intersects too with project management.
maybe also, how do you listen? What's your preferred channel there? What do you use, out of curiosity, Trina?
Yeah, I am a Podbean person originally. I found Podbean because I liked a podcast that was only on Podbean. So then you kind of develop that rapport with that site. But we host our podcast on Buzzsprout. So now I've been living there a little bit. How about you?
I'm an Apple Pod guy. Just keep it in the ecosystem that's on my phone, right? So make it
Yeah, it
simple
serves
for
it
me.
up to you nice, right? And I don't like to watch myself, but we have a good following on YouTube. I don't know if everyone knows, but you can also watch the video of the Where You Keep to Work podcast. You don't have to just listen to us driving in your car. It's fun to see the guests.
Yeah, it is. I also am a listener, right, as far as that's concerned. So I like to do that while I'm running. Has been a good one.
Oh,
to,
yeah, that's good.
Get these in. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that's great. Have you had a favorite guest?
It's really tough, honestly, I think, from that, because all of our guests have really just been spectacular. I really, really liked Emma Kelly with the Water Project. I just the genuineness of the work that they're doing, and her as that program manager speaks to me as far as that's concerned. So yeah.
I loved that was an example of program management for our audience in this first season. There's something to be said about program management in general, like what is it and how do people get involved and what does it mean and how is it different from project management? But then to put that humanitarian nonprofit spin on it, where you're listening and you can really get behind the programs and the goals of those programs that she was talking about, saturating, sub-Saharan Africa with available and reliable water sources for people. That was something like everyone could applaud a program manager. You can do it.
Yeah, it really is. I also appreciate their community approach that they have, right?
Yes.
You're working in all of these places without utility, and the neighborhood, the community, the local people is ultimately are the ones who run that, and I think that's just such a neat idea to that.
Yeah, we titled that one Aligning Projects and Empowering People. And her superpower really was doing both those things. And it's been special to hear very humble people be able to articulate their superpowers, and recognize that these are really important things to get work done. I'm thinking now about the Fairlife episode, our first episode 1 with Stephen Hall from Fairlife Milk. Another one where he's talking about their goal at Fairlife to nourish the modern world. It was profound for us to kick off with that particular episode because the goals that project managers are pushing towards and aligning tasks and work towards are really monumental in some cases.
Yeah, it really is. I also loved his story, right? And
Yes.
starting, kind of what you would think of as that more of entry level and working his way up and building those skills to then be running the projects and running, the same place where he had, just kind of started off. I think that's spectacular.
Yeah, that was really great. We called that episode "Chocolate Milk and Attitude Changes" because his superpower was to help his team like really change an attitude or form your attitude around your work based on those goals of the organization. That was super cool. And you mentioned leadership and how people have had these journeys where project management has kind of found them and then they've been led to another area. We just did an episode with Kristina Curtis, who is now the VP of Communications at PMI San Diego, but she's had a big path starting out at Home Depot and going through manufacturing and then healthcare. And each time a leader in her life noticed her strengths or a new skill set that she either was emulating right now or she had a trajectory to do later, and they identified it, even to the point at the end. One of her stories at the end of her episode, she's talking about a leader who said, you need to leave this organization. There's not runway for you ahead. You have bigger skills than you can use here. That was amazing.
Yeah, the level of emotional intelligence, right, that she brings to the organizations that she's a part of, it's clearly just a beacon or a lighthouse for those she's working around. So it's spectacular.
I noticed that about all of our guests because they all were not just individual project or program managers, but they had chosen, almost all of them had chosen to do some sort of consulting or mentoring or volunteering to help other PMPs.
Yeah, that actually makes me think of James Phillips, right, in our episode
Yes.
on developing the powers within, where he really, took that on himself, really, I think,
Hmm.
and said, these are the skills that I want. These are the certificates. These are the ways in which I can better my own professional abilities to be a better asset to the organizations that I'm a part of, right? And
Yeah, totally. And he really he mentors, I don't remember the number, but it was a large number of people aspiring to get their PMP. And he had
mhm.
really great beginning skill sets that people would have to learn themselves by reinventing the wheel and learning on the go. And he was helping these young people and young PMPs, not always a young person, someone new to project management professional certification, color blocking, how to block your schedule, how to talk to your senior leaders, how to plan for your project tasks at all. It was amazing.
Yeah, it really was. Just that care, it gets
Hmm.
felt through all of our guests, I think. So,
Yes. I'm kind of segueing to the care because I started thinking about some of the other nonprofits that we talked to. And Michelle Dickstein is a nonprofit healthcare project management professional, and she's helped to set up different PMOs at different nonprofit healthcare organizations. And her story was so amazing because the work that she was doing ended up being her life needed. Like she was working in an organization that was researching preterm births for mothers in that community. And she ended up having an at risk pregnancy with twins at the same time she was working on those projects.
I know. So, how full circle, right? Just really that,
Yes.
here I am. I have this,
Hmm.
I don't want to say problem, but condition or whatever, how you
Yes.
want to look at it, and
Circumstance, right?
circumstance. Yeah, that's really probably the better word. And now I get to be a part of making the world better for other people that are in the same
Yes.
place. Yeah.
Yes. And then she, on a more somber note, she had a cancer diagnosis later, and she shared so many resources with our audience about what do you do when your own personal health situation has a crisis. Here you are, the reliable, team leader of all of this work, and now you have to step back or step away or completely remove yourself, and you don't even know, when you'll be back. How to lean in on your resources and the people around you, and really take that assistance, gracefully. That was a neat part of her episode too.
Yeah. Get the pause in, right? So that you can take
Yes.
care of yourself and then be able to come
hmm
back and fulfill for others, I think.
And her cat was in that episode. So if you
Yeah,
didn't see the
that
Michelle
was.
Dickstein episode, the cat is at the end, and it's so cute because she's telling me about how I couldn't see the cat because of the way the screen was allocated. And she said that her cat, Colby, had been giving her little pats on the back, like of moral support during the episode. It was so great. You had to
Yeah.
love it.
So
The other episode we were talking about was the Universal Studios episode. We had Mehul Shah, who, by the way, is a huge leader in PMO development. And, he's come through so many different larger organizations. And he was willing to share about what it's like to build roller coasters and resort properties and theme parks at Universal Studios. That was pretty cool.
which sometimes that's the pause you need, right? As that individual
Right.
is to go and scream and enjoy and have a wonderful time. I think some of the conversation there was around AI as well, if I'm not mistaken, right, Trina?
Yeah, that's his backbone, is really like, how is
Yeah.
AI going to impact project management, which is a question that everyone's asking, but it wasn't how is it going to. He was addressing, how, it's just a non-negotiable. Data is required now, and we have to be able to interact with that data, and not just interact with it, on one project, or, in how to write up WBS or decide what the tasks are, but all across your organization. Now that we have these tools to be able to leverage reporting data, what are we going to do with it? And finding the right project management or program management or portfolio management software that can help you take that data and aggregate it in one place for insights for your team.
Yeah, the idea of having a central place to work across all of these organizations was a common theme, I think, regardless of the industry or, where anybody started was, this need to have something to let everybody work out of, right? And provide that
Right.
visibility. So instead of you needing to get the update from me, you can go right to the source and understand what that
Right.
is. Yeah.
Right. And at all levels, at Project Insight, we have to give ourselves a little nod. I mean, the
Sure.
project management software that we are building, is being built so that you can see that data across not just all of your projects at your company, but when your company grows and you have more than one thread of projects, now you have different programs that, are different products that you're selling, or in Emma Kelly's case, different or countries that you're doing work in. These programs all have different project data that fall under them, and then they make up your entire portfolio. So, we've designed our project management software so that you can see cross project level, cross program level, even across different portfolios if you're that large. And it's not just a reporting, it's a dynamic visibility so that you can take action on that information right there in real time. We love that.
Yeah, it's so convenient when, team A often is siloed here and team B is here. We can be that bridge, even if you are, using a tool like DevOps or Jira for your developers, right? And still provide
hmm
that visibility level, which, was one of those pieces that Kevin Perkins,
Yes.
having that background in our space of SaaS specifically, right?
hmm Right.
Is was able to speak to during the project management in the fourth dimension episode. So
Yeah, that was an awesome episode. We got so many kudos on that. If you haven't, audience, if you haven't heard that episode with Kevin Perkins, it's time for your 4D view of project management software. It was the history of where it started and what it's been through and how it got to where it's going now, and maybe even the future of agents in project management, and what we're looking ahead towards. And speaking of being built, I'm thinking of the Jeremiah Hammon episode, because one of the things that we also pride ourselves on at Project Insight is building our project management software with you project professionals in mind and the PMBOK principles that you uphold in your certifications and your work from the PMI organization. And Jeremiah is a firm cheerleader for the PMBOK principles, and he shared a lot about that foundation of project management in his episode. I thought that was very insightful, all the ways that you can stick to that.
That's a great episode if you're maybe having a sad Tuesday and you just want to get, kind of some good energy up, I think.
Yes.
It really just oozes out of him as far as, the, Project Management Institute best practices, the idea that, I can help bring the next generation of change makers, into their organizations to then cascade those firm foundations, right? So,
Right. And his company, Project Revolution, really makes a big effort to reach companies and individuals to help them, really take that foundation into their own workplace. We had other episodes with Sree Karanakarun, who does IT project management in the community government space. And we talked to Lindy Way Stenberg, who works in the marketing area at PayPal. And then Jen and Sukanya from Activision Blizzard King, cybersecurity project program managers.
Yeah.
And the number of people on those teams there. And, if you stop to think about Activision Blizzard King and how many companies they've merged with or acquired, just that whole discussion about what happens when it's not just growing teams, it's all of a sudden you have an entirely new team of thousands of people that have joined your organization and you have to merge your project management practices.
Yeah, that makes me, the visual that I got in my head when you said that was, I've got my red Play-Doh and I have my blue Play-Doh, and now they have to play together, right? And, that's really
That's awesome.
such a, great concept, and they do it so well. So many users of those games and the franchises, World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, these are, Candy Crush, right? The kind of
Yes.
core pieces that people are engaged with. My workout partner is actually very into gaming. When I let him know that was one of our guests, he immediately jumped on the podcast to listen.
That's
just
awesome.
because that's a world he
A
enjoys.
fan favorite. Yeah. I actually
Exactly.
started playing Candy Crush watching that dumb episode. I was like, I better try one of these games. I'm not much of a gamer, but I did get addicted to it. And it reminded me, all the candy falls down. I was like, this is just like the companies that have joined forces together there. It's it represented all of their merger pieces. We have a great season coming up. And I just did want to mention to our audience that we're going to start season 2 in May sometime. We haven't picked the exact date, but it's coming up in May. And we have some great guests that are coming in to talk about things like what it's like to set up a PMO when there's not a framework for a PMO, and where can you find those resources. Talking about IT project management, talking about healthcare project management again, looking at different companies and how they scale their project management principles. But if you are in the audience and you have a suggestion about things you want to hear about, or companies or projects you'd like to know more about, please do feel free to drop us a note or even leave a comment in the comments on our YouTube channel. We'd love to entertain some of those ideas for sure.
Absolutely. I'm so excited about season 2. Just really looking forward to it. I think one of the common themes, right, is where can I find those resources? Where can I, get that additional assistance so I can be that change agent in my organization? And one of the places, big shout out to, the Project Management Institute. I think that through and through has been, whether somebody is on the board like Sree is, right? High PMI Mile High, or, you're just a big promoter like Jeremiah. It's really at the bedrock and foundation for getting this work done that does make the world run, really. So.
Yes, and a shout out to all of you volunteers who are working tirelessly at PMI chapters. There are a lot of chapters in the United States, but across the globe. And we know we have audience, participants and people who've mentioned that they're part of one chapter or another. And we do applaud you. In fact, we applaud all of you. That's the whole reason we developed Wear Your Cape to Work, was because we really do want to celebrate the project management professionals that we know are the superheroes at their organization. So we applaud you if you have your PMP, or if you're thinking about it, or if it's just a foresight somewhere down the road, or if you're a veteran, or if you're volunteering, you're thinking about volunteering, if you work at PMI. We're going to be at PMI Global this year in November, so mark that on your calendar. We'd love to meet you there. If you have or would like to communicate with us, otherwise, you can reach Matt at sales@projectinsight.com and myself at marketing@projectinsight.com. Very easy. We give our high five. I don't even, can you high five like through our Brady Bunch? There right we go. There. Yeah. That's pretty good. But we do also want you PMI chapters to know that we do have resources for you as well. We have a special program for PMI chapters, so feel free to contact me about that if you'd like to know how we support PMI chapters, both in use of the software and in other resources for your professional development days and your chapter events and thought leadership. We'd be happy to chat with you about that too. Any last things?
I would just to piggyback on that, I'd say, or if you are an organization, obviously needing the software, we're here for you. But even if you're somebody who is partnering with organizations,
yes,
we have a wonderful partnership program that incentivizes you for the partnership, but also then provides our, high first class products as you're doing that. So please do reach out and let us know how we may aid.
Yep. And if you don't want anything formal and you just want to be a fan, we're happy to have the fans. Yeah. So feel free to give us a cheer or a shout out or a like or your support. We sure enjoy it. And we are really authentically excited about talking to each of these project management professionals that we've had on this podcast. And we are looking forward to a great season 2. So thanks for being part of our first season, everyone. We really appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us today on the Wear Your Cape to Work podcast, hosted by Project Insight. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, follow, or leave us a comment. If you subscribe to our YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or other favorite podcast channels, you'll receive notifications of all of our new episodes. We'd also love it if you would share Wear Your Cape to Work with your network of PMPs or anyone else who might enjoy the show. Project Insight is an online project and portfolio management software that helps companies connect project data from across all of their teams and software tools so that they can make confident decisions about their business. Our website is projectinsight.com, and there you can find many resources for project professionals, including free PDU webinars, as well as a place to register for a demonstration or a consultation with one of our success teams. Thank you once again for joining today's conversation, and most importantly, thanks for wearing your cape to work.